Hello, everyone. I'm Emma, and today we're going to talk about linking words of contrast and concession.
Hi there, I'm Jake, and I can't wait to dive into this topic with you all.
Linking words help us connect ideas and present balanced arguments. Isn't that neat?
Absolutely. There are many ways to express contrast in English. For example, we use although.
Exactly, Jake. Let's start our dialogue. I'll use some linking words.
Sounds great. I'll try to respond naturally.
Okay, so, I love coffee. It keeps me awake, although I sometimes enjoy tea.
I prefer tea, on the other hand. It's relaxing and soothing.
That's interesting. In spite of its relaxing qualities, I find tea a bit boring sometimes.
I get that. Nevertheless, I appreciate the variety of teas available.
Yes, there are many flavors, although I usually stick to green tea.
On the other hand, I like trying new herbal teas.
That sounds adventurous. In spite of my love for coffee, I feel like I might explore more teas.
Exactly. Yet, I sometimes crave a strong cup of coffee in the morning.
Oh yes, coffee can be so energizing. However, I guess it depends on the person.
Although some people prefer decaf, I can't imagine life without caffeine.
Haha, you're right. In spite of being helpful, too much caffeine can make people jittery.
I know. Nevertheless, I love my morning routine with coffee.
Sounds like a great routine. Yet, mixing in some tea could be refreshing.
That could work. On the other hand, I don't think I'll give up coffee anytime soon.
Fair enough. Let's move on to the explanation of our grammar structure.
Yes, let's explore how to use these linking words effectively.
Great. Linking words like although introduce a contrast. For example, although it's cold, I enjoy the winter.
So, it shows that the speaker enjoys winter despite it being cold?
Exactly. And, nevertheless, can indicate surprise. For instance, she was sick. Nevertheless, she attended the meeting.
That means she went to the meeting even though she was sick?
You got it. Another example is, in spite of. For example, in spite of the rain, they went for a hike.
So, they hiked even though it rained?
Correct. Lastly, yet, shows a surprising contrast, like, he was tired, yet, he finished the project.
So, he was tired but still managed to finish?
Exactly. Now, let's continue with more dialogue examples.
Sure, I'll try to use those linking words more often now.
Perfect. So, Jake, I think going for a walk is nice, but it's quite hot outside.
Yes, it's very hot. Nevertheless, I think it's a great exercise.
I agree. In spite of the heat, walking helps clear my mind.
Exactly. Although I've been exercising less lately, I still enjoy going out.
That's wonderful. Yet, how do you stay motivated?
I try to set small goals. On the other hand, when I miss a day, I feel guilty.
I know that feeling. Nevertheless, missing one day isn't the end of the world.
True. In spite of my busy schedule, I always find a moment for a quick workout.
That's the spirit. Although exercising at home is convenient, I love outdoor activities.
Yes. Yet, some people prefer indoor workouts when it's really hot.
Exactly. On the other hand, I feel more relaxed when I'm outdoors.
In spite of the heat? Wow, you're brave.
Haha, perhaps a little. Nevertheless, I just enjoy the nature.
That's great. I need to join you sometime. Although I'm not a morning person, I think it would be fun.
You definitely should. Yet, we can also go in the evening when it's cooler.
Perfect. Let's make plans. I'm excited to try.
Great. Now, let's look at our vocabulary words a bit closer.
Yes, I love building vocabulary.
Nevertheless, can mean, in spite of that. For example, it rained all day. Nevertheless, we had a picnic.
That's a nice way to use it. I might use that in my next conversation.
On the other hand, we have in spite of. For example, in spite of being tired, she finished her work.
That's a great example. So, it shows her effort, despite being tired.
Although is used for contrast. For instance, although he studied hard, he didn't pass the exam.
That's a tough situation, but a good use of although.
Yet, can also introduce a contrast. For example, she has a lot of experience, yet she didn't get the job.
Wow, that's an interesting sentence. It shows that experience doesn't always guarantee success.
Exactly. Lastly, on the other hand, can highlight a different perspective. For example, I love dogs. On the other hand, cats can be great too.
That's very true. It's a good way to balance opinions.
Now let's do a quick review. I have some questions for you.
I'm ready. Let's see what you got.
First question. What word can you use to indicate surprise in contrast?
That would be nevertheless.
Correct. Now, how would you start a sentence with, on the other hand?
Maybe, I like to save money. On the other hand, I love shopping.
Great example. Next, how do you contrast two ideas with, although?
Although it's sunny, it's still quite cold.
Perfect. And what about a sentence with, in spite of?
In spite of the traffic, I arrived on time.
Excellent. Last question. Can you use, yet, to show a contrast?
Sure, he likes to party, yet he works hard at his job.
Well done. You've understood these linking words very well.
Thanks. It's always fun learning new ways to connect ideas.
I'm glad to hear you enjoyed it. In our next lesson, we'll discuss idioms and how to use them.
That sounds fantastic. Idioms can be really fun to learn.